This is question 18. Okay, so it is saying a sugar company paid 362,400, okay, as dividend for 1,200 shares. So a man had 20 shares in a company. Calculate the amount paid to him. So for the man who had 1,200 shares, he got paid this amount. What about now the man who is having 20 shares? So we have to know the number, the amount of money that was given per share. Okay, so the number dividend per share. So you can just say dividend per share. Dividend per share is going to be equal to the amount which was given. The amount given divided by the number of shares divided by the number of shares. So we know to say that this man here at first, the one who had the 1,200 shares, he was given 362,400. Okay, then how many shares? 1,200. So you can easily cancel the zeros, isn't it? So these zeros here, they can cancel each other. Then we can say we can say that we have this number here by dividing by 12. So we have 3,624 divided by 12. Then what are we going to have? We're going to have 302. So meaning to say 302 was the amount of money which was given per share. So one share was sold at 302. Now what about the one who is having 20 shares? So meaning to say we just have to flip this one. You see, when we make the amount given, and then we cross multiply here, it's more like we are making the amount of money subject to the formula. So the amount of money which is going to be given to this man here, the amount of money given or paid is going to be equal to the dividend per share. Dividend per share multiplied by the number of shares. Let me just use this one, of shares. So we know to say that the dividend per share is equal to the amount of money that each share is being sold. 302 multiplied by the number of shares, which are 20. Then when I multiply, I'm going to get 6,040. So this is the amount of money which the man was given. For question B, the equation of a line parallel to the equation to the line 2x plus y is equal to 4, passing through negative 5, 3. So when the line are parallel to each other, let's say we have this line here, then again we also have another line here, this one. These lines, these two lines, they are going to have same gradient. So this is gradient number 1 and this is gradient number 2. Gradient number 1 is equal to gradient number 2 for the lines which are parallel. So I can write this one here in this format where I'm going to say we have y which is going to be equal to mx plus c. So this value here is the gradient. So I have to write this equation in this format. So we have y which is going to be equal to, so let me start with this one here. Since this one is positive x, when it goes to the other side, it's going to be negative what? It's going to be negative 2x. So negative 2x, then plus 4. So as you can see, I've written this one in this format here. So according to what we have here, what is going to be the gradient? The gradient is going to be negative 2. Okay. So since the lines were parallel to each other, that's the reason why this gradient here is going to be equal to with the gradient of these coordinates here that we have. But if the question is saying they are not parallel to each other, so you have to find gradient number 2. So how can you find gradient number 2? First gradient multiplied by gradient number 2 is going to be equal to -1. So meaning to say, if this equation was not parallel to these coordinates here that we have, meaning gradient number 2 would have been -1 divided by -2, which is the same as 1/2. That is one thing that you need to understand here. Now since they are parallel to each other, no need of doing that. Remember the coordinates that we have here. This is the value of x, this is the value of y. So the value of x is -5, the value of y is 3. So we can use the same equation. Y is going to be equal to mx plus c. So -5, 3. This is x, this is y. So we have y as 3. We have the gradient as -2. We have x as -5. We want to find c. So this is going to give us 3 and this is going to give us 10, then plus c. So c is going to be equal to, when this one goes to the other side, it's going to be negative. -10 plus 3 is going to give us -7. So we have found the value of c. So you can just replace it in this formula here. So we have y, which is going to be equal to the value for the gradient is -2, then x, then the value of c here is -7. Then this is going to give us as our final answer. So for the first part we have 6040. For the last part we have y being equal to -2x minus 7. Then we are done.